And we start with a front-page story on Monday's Telegraph and climate reparations. Josh, tell me more.
Britain opens door to climate reparations. So there's a nice picture there of Sunak dressed as me. He's got his shirt on, he's got his poppy, and he's stepping out into Egypt.
Can I just say he looks a bit smarter than you do, Josh?
I don't say. I think we pretty much look the same, almost like twins.
Well, your shirt looks like a sort of Black Friday sort of last-minute purchase from TK Maxx, whereas that's like Savile Row or something, I would say.
Well, he is a little bit wealthier than I am. It's just exactly a tad.
Right. And also, he hasn't got your looks. But this story is going to resonate, isn't it, with millions of voters? Probably on both sides of the argument.
This is a bad time to be talking about more money being spent by our government. Glasgow hosted COP26 last year, now it's COP27. Part of the Glasgow focus was about making sure that these countries were signed up to the whole Paris Accords, which is about keeping climate change to 1.5 degrees. Now, the whole focus of this particular COP27, is all about how are they going to pay for it. And initially, obviously, Rishi Sunak didn't actually want to go. He was kind of strong-armed into it. Boris Johnson is there talking about the corrosive cynicism, how people shouldn't go into it. But the reality is that developing countries are bearing the brunt of climate change, even though some people don't believe in climate change. But the fact is, the droughts, the flooding...
The Maldives, you've got Pakistan, many other parts of Asia.
We have people in this country who are going to food banks. We have people whose homes are cold, and a myriad of other issues, cost of living crisis. So the idea of our government giving out the money that we arguably don't have is a very tricky one to sell to the British people.
Yes, you are American, Kathryn. Would the Americans tolerate a percentage of the national income going abroad?
No. I know very little about politics, but I know we don't want our money going anywhere else.
Yeah, because taxation is something that's that's one thing Americans can agree on. They don't like taxes, do they?
No, I try to avoid them as much as possible.
So we've got this
thing over here. Are you a tax exile?
I have no comment.
You've come to the worst country for it.
No comment.
However, the issue of reparations is something that has been raised in the United States in relation to its historic past, particularly slavery. So what do you think about this idea of sort of the UK apologising for the Industrial Revolution by basically writing a big fat cheque and saying sorry?
Well, I think Josh already said it. With what money? Where's the money coming from? I mean, that's my question. I know I don't want it coming out of the little bit they gave me to pay my energy bill this year. So that's my thought.
And also, what do you think about that sort of moral side of it? This idea that we owe these countries an apology and it's going to be more than words. They need cash. I mean, do you sort of believe in that revisionist approach to history where you look at the wrongs of the past and think, OK, well, we better atone in some way? Do you think this is the way to resolve that?
I mean, I feel like that question's much bigger than me. But I mean, how much? I guess if
you're quite big,
yeah,
you're like 5'9".
Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh, and very thin. Please tell them very thin.
But what about spending that money otherwise and spending it on creating these newer, clean fuels and then gifting that technology to those countries?
It's a great idea. I think that's a really great idea. And similarly, actually, things like the vaccine, which, is clearly going to be very welcome in countries where there are vulnerable groups who haven't been vaccinated yet. We should be sharing stuff that we've already got that either we don't need or we have a surplus of, or, as you say, great British innovation. A quick word on COP27. So that means that there have been 26 so far. Many people think it's been a talking shop. Have there been more COP meetings than Fast and Furious movies, do you know?
Well, I'm only up to 362 on the old Fast and Furious, so I'm not sure how many more we can fit in.
Yeah.
But the important thing is that family matters.
It definitely does. Let me say, full disclosure, that Vin Diesel is far more entertaining than Bill Gates or Alok Sharma.